Hey guys, it's James back yet again with a new video, and with all the tensions rising, people are getting into this prepper stage. And in most states, as far as I know, it's not too bad, but with this government shutdown, things are starting to look like they're going to start getting feisty. And that being said, there's a lot of preppers who are really starting to pick up their momentum with, stocking their shelves and preparing for what most consider the worst. Or, in some terms, better, but I mean, hey, it's a matter of opinion. And that being said, with all the preppers out there, some people may be thinking about or even beginning to start somewhere and they don't know what to do. And this video is going to really cover what the do's and don'ts, and then, kind of like, I guess, say the play styles of prepping or bugging in, bugging out, stuff like that. And that with starting out with that, I want to state that, wherever you are in the country, you're in a different environment. So I'm not passing on information in a bug out bag scenario, like in terms of what my kit's going to be, to somebody that lives in, let's say, Arizona, or someone in Wisconsin right now. It's pretty cold there. So I'm not going to be showing a kit that's going to be designed to protect you from the elements in that sense. Especially, I'm also really good at, my personal skill is making shelters. So I'm kind of reluctant on bringing a shelter with me, especially where I'm at right now. It's a very urban area, so I mean, for miles on end, if I needed somewhere to stay, there's probably going to be an empty house somewhere or something I can clear out with a rifle around my shoulders. I mean, I can do a lot of stuff around here that most people can't. And that being said, the play styles are different. I see, like, you got multiple play styles, one of them being the bug in and the bug out play styles. That's not always the answer to everything. I saw a lot of other videos where they're like, that's not exactly a set in stone. The bug in guy is going to die. The bug out guy is going to die. And in that video, just to help get his message out, to help get other people's messages out, if you decide to bug in, that's great. Your house is now a fortress, but someone's going to start probing those defenses after you stay there for a while, and that's going to make you a target. Combatively speaking, the end of the world is going to bring out the worst. Oh, and I should say the without rule of law, because our government is fixing to shut down, or could be shutting down. Without rule of law, there's no one that's going to stop you from walking up the street and shooting somebody up, There's not going to be much running water, if any. There's not going to be much potable water to find easily without having to go to high lengths to get there unless you have it in your house. Which people that you may know will know that. After time, they'll see that you're not losing any fat. You're not worried about anything. You never leave the house. So there's got to be something in there that they want, because you clearly don't need to go out and get your stuff. So that's one thing to think about as a bug out, as a bug in. Bugging out, what if the end of the world happens and you're nowhere near your bug out scenario or your bug out location? Or let's say you have a bug out shelter or bug out location that's now unable to get to or hard to access, and will become harder and harder to access as time progresses because of maybe blocked roadways. Time of the year may not permit the best living status there when there's better options on the table. There's always got to be a plan B. That's what I'm getting at. Bug in, bug out, I would have a bug in and a bug out plan, even if they're both simple, something to start out with, because long-term speaking, who knows what a short government shutdown could lead to, God knows what. In a long-term one, that could possibly be even worse or even better depending on what happens, and nobody really knows. Just like a lot of famous military members will say, every plan is perfect until first contact. The second the first round flies past your head, the second the first shots are fired on the street, the second the first state goes into anarchy, everything you had in plan probably will not work. And that's why you need to be able to improvise that plan in aspects that are way broader, or I should say way more broad than what you had planned. If this goes down, what are you going to do with that? Some people like to plan for that stuff. Other people like to let it happen. I'm a let it happen guy. I'm just going to go where I can. I'm a mover. I've set my bag up to where hopefully there will be some place to resupply, even if it's off the corpse of somebody. You know, I need new shoes. I hope their feet fucking don't stink, I guess. You know, I need more water. Let's hope they don't have contaminated water. I hope, you know what I'm saying? I'm leaning my bug out plan on chance because of where I'm at. There's so many opportunities that could or could not be there that planning one out will probably be a waste of time. But having a general route to go into is what I'm saying. When you're planning stuff in my location would be, hey, I want to head to this location because I could have friends on that side of the border. Or I could have friends on that end of the street that may be okay and may want my help. Or they may be bugging out and we can go as a group. That's more gunpowder behind you, provided you have a weapon system. Another thing I'm going to talk about in here is, you know, the kind of packs that people pack, and, you know, what for me works, what doesn't work. And in terms of packing, you have, again, on that scenario of what is your play style. You could be a bug in, you could be a bug out, you could be a roamer, you could be someone who's looking to have a group of people come over that do survive and you just annex a location. You know, it could be what your plan is, it's going to determine your pack. And then you just, at that point, you can't prepare for everything because there's no such thing as a bag the size of a house or a surplus store. It just doesn't exist. And you can't carry it even if it did. You have to set your pack up for what your battle plan is, what your evasion plan or your bug-in plan or your maneuvering and gathering plan is. And you also have to remember to set it up to your specifications. You know, for me, like I said, I'm really good at shelter. So if somebody may pack 30% of their bag, something like a lot of special forces do, something to sleep in, something to sleep on, and something to sleep with. Me, I may put something to sleep with in there because in and on is some stuff that I love to do on my own anyway. Some people will have 3, 4, 5 gallons of water on them and that be their main thing because they're not good or there's not enough water in their location. That their pack will primarily be, hey, like I know Arizona has a water problem, so people in Arizona and California, you know, you guys are probably going to have an ass load of water while I have an ass load of winter gear because it gets cold at night and it warms up throughout the day here. Losing your body temperature at nighttime is a death sentence here or anywhere. And then you also have people that may be in a very condensed location where starting a fire is more impractical than anything because somebody's going to see that you don't want to see. Or maybe you're near so many houses that you'd be better off walking inside, finding a closet, and closing the door for the night. You know, a lot of people don't look into that. And those are strategies that I would talk about in another video. But I'm also going to get into my new pack here in my next video. But for now, we're just going to, you know, talking about the pack. I'm going to bring that up a couple times and kind of give you a quick open into what's in my bag, and then the next video will be about it. Another thing is, you know, you gotta pack calories. That's one thing that a lot of people don't pack, or they lose sight of that. And even if it's a pack of crackers, you know, let's look in here. One pack of crackers is roughly 240 calories, I do believe. Yeah, it's 200 calories for one of these packs of crackers right here. And with it having cheese in there, you're getting some dietary and protein, which is good for your muscles. You know, when you're doing a lot more strenuous labor than you're used to, which could be anything from hiking to moving stuff out of your way to simply just being stressed. You know, your body's gonna handle that differently than your everyday work life. You know, after 30 days, your body acclimates to stuff, and I can promise you that a lot of people that have bug out plans, they practice, but they don't practice every single day. I don't practice every single day. I just don't have the time. So that's another thing you gotta look into is your food. And for my location, food would be a problem because there's a lot of houses around here, but that means that whoever lives in those houses is probably still alive or may be alive, and walking up to it to procure food is a very dangerous thing to be doing. That's why I would say keep at least 3 days of food and have a plan to procure or hunt for, efficiently hunt for or fish for up to 2 to 3 weeks just to see what's in motion, what's not in motion. Let all the looters. You want to be able, I guess, to say, well, my strategy would be stay on the move and see what's going on, more of a scout. So that's my third one that I'd get into, is being a scout. You wait for 2 to 3 weeks, see who's going where are they going back to, what are they bringing back, what are they stockpiling, is it worth my time to look into, in the sense that, hey, I might end up in the middle of the night killing these people, or befriending them in the middle of the day. It's not always, people lose sight of the fact that when the rule of law goes away, food is a valuable asset, and that may end up being a life or death situation. So you have to be ready to understand you may have to kill for food. And it's one of those things, if you scout around, you may find, hey, these guys got a good bit of food here, but I have enough to sustain over here. It's not much, but there's no killing involved. And that's a big part. Mine is the scout. Like I said, I like to scout and then think about long term after about a month or two to see what's going on. You could end up finding really good places to stay that you can use your resources, your knowledge, to help them, and they can help you with food, resources, so on, etc., etc. And so I do what they call a scout, like I said a million times already. But so back to what I was saying, is that food needs to be there for at least 2 weeks if you're doing the scout, to make sure that you have enough food and water and a place to stay where no one's going to really see you. Kind of want to gray man yourself out of everything. Pack light, freeze at night. For 2 weeks, that's going to do you great, because after that's over, you could probably walk into a Walmart and you may find a nice bag in there that you can put more stuff into, and that won't hinder you too much. You can put maybe a sleeping bag in there and make a more permanent, movable shelter. But for me now, I do the scout. So you also have other people, like I said, the annex type people. They have a group of people typically that have already decided, hey, we're going to get together and we're going to take over this location. We're going to hold it down, and that's going to be our new location. We are going to hold it down. We are going to make a government, and we are going to start over. And people like that, they're really, really resourceful. They got a lot of firepower behind them, and they are people you don't want to get involved with negatively. Those are the type of people that will probably do just about anything to keep their ideals as the ideals. At least in that location, their rule is law. So when you walk into places like that, if you ever come across one, you follow their rules, you follow their laws, and try to fit in if that's where you want to be. If not, try to make sure you leave on a good note so they don't, extinguish your life force upon walking out the door. I also see a lot of people, they have, bug out shelters or big underground bunkers. That is actually a great idea if you have the money, but it's impractical for a lot of people because they can't afford a mortgage and to provide that. That is my long-term goal, which I probably won't get to do now, obviously, because I do believe the end is getting very close, and I don't think I'll have enough time or resources to put that in time. But hey, it's all good, right? I have other plans. Plan B, right? And those people are also people you got to worry about, because they've obviously put the money into staying alive. They're also going to put the time and effort to stay alive after the initial shit hitting the fan, or without rule of law scenario, as I like to call it better at this point. Because, the shit hitting the fan, I would say, would be a widespread outbreak where no one nowhere is going to have any power of what happens. But when there's without rule of law, that means that doesn't necessarily mean, what we're going into next, without rule of law scenario is more of a with rule of many laws, if you think about it. Because let's say the government does shut down and it causes a big riot, right? Now there's no law, except for the laws that are designed by household for the short period of time. It's getting a little chilly, so I'm going to put this on. Or you're going to have without rule of law scenario where there's a bunch of split up sectors. People have already decided, gang members in certain locations, they're going to take advantage of every bit of non-police activity they can get. That's going to start gang wars, because now, without the police patrolling and stopping shit, they can do whatever the fuck they want. That's a rule of law there. Their rules are law now. Their ideals, their culture is law in that location. And then on down the line, until you come across that lone guy who's just been wandering around he's got to figure out these laws or die because of not knowing them. Plan on the penalty of death being the main source of law, so to speak, or at least self-harm or detriment to you to a point where you will never want to do this again or never get the chance to because you won't have the ability. So in this sense, it's not really the shit hitting the fan because there's going to be so many people that aren't dead that are going to have their own ideals and their own plans, and if anybody gets in their way that's not bigger than them, they're going to extinguish that or decide to make them part of the group. And I just hope a lot of people are ready for that, you know. I'm going to do a couple more videos today, so if you guys are looking forward to more, you know, prepping plans or a bug out bag scenario, I'm also going to do some wilderness survival for the bug outs, and then I'm not a big bug in dude, so I would just kind of stick around here, but I'll do a small bug in, and I hope you guys are enjoying the video. So if you guys like it, like and subscribe. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, or requests, please leave them down there in that box. I will read them. Just make sure you save them there. That's me signing out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.